Esther. So yeah, as was mentioned earlier, muscles are now out of beta, so that's great.
Beta!
That doesn't mean we just stop developing things on muscles. We're still adding features. So let's take a look at some of those. So you've probably seen over the years us mention something called a Franken muscle, both as something in development and actually a quite old tool with a similar concept. But a Franken muscle is basically a collection of muscles that normally are independent, but all brought together into a single mesh. And you can kind of see here the colors indicating where muscles exist within this one TET mesh. But they are segmented. They actually are individual muscles sort of just represented as a single TET mesh. And there's a lot of benefits to being able to do that. So obviously you can still paint things, say which muscle is which. We have a lot of tools for painting IDs, so you can still say this section of this sort of blob of TETs is a very specific muscle. So why would you want to do this? Well, there's actually a lot of reasons. One is just workflow. If you've ever had to model a full creature's muscles, it's actually very difficult. It's time consuming. Changes are difficult. And on top of that, you have to worry about things intersecting with each other, and that causes problems down the road when you're simulating. So you get rid of that sort of part of the pipeline and make it a lot simpler. It becomes almost a sculpting exercise where you pick groups of muscles and sculpt them rather than build individual muscles. Although you can see here in this example that you don't have to necessarily do that for every group. So instead you create these groups of muscles, but where you want sliding or overlapping action, you can still create multiple Franken muscles. But like I said, they are individual. You can see we can trigger them and flex them still as if they were individual muscles.
Why always lying?
Awesome, because apart from the fact that again you have this scene to deal with, you also start to remove issues from the solving as well, because muscles that are next to each other don't have to worry about collisions and things like that necessarily anymore. And oftentimes, even in the real world, muscles that are in these groups do work sort of together. They don't necessarily always work individually. So this is sort of a simplification of the underlying process. But you can see here in this animation, I promise it does animate. Here we go. In this animation, maybe not, of this character walking. I'm going to try one more time.
You tried it.
Hey, there we go. Of these muscles flexing and working together. And as you can see, there's still a ton of detail. There's still a lot of information there. You can still see the flexing, even muscles sliding over each other in certain areas. So you haven't really lost very much, but you've gained a huge amount in terms of workflow.
All right, very interesting.
So thank you all for supporting.